Freeman. Basically, if you're west of Highway 35, if you're west of Highway 61, this is the area that's most at risk. So you are under a tornado warning. We're seeing, at the very least, some strong winds in this area. There might be another wind circulation developing out toward the south and west, so that's why this area is under a tornado warning. But then we have to go down to the south, and we have a second tornado warning. This one is in effect for Grant County, and we'll flash the box there too so you can get an idea of where that is, and I'll just move the information box here so you can see where it is. But this wind circulation looks a little bit more intense. At the very least, we're seeing some very strong winds. Now, just to the north of Bloomington, the National Weather Service Doppler radar is up in La Crosse. So what we're seeing is the winds blowing away from the radar and the winds blowing toward the radar. And that's right in this area here, right along Highway 18, just to the west of Mount Hope. So that would track it up along Highway 133, and then eventually up toward the Mississippi River, just to the south of Wazeeka in the southern portion of Crawford County, which is not right now in the tornado warning, but you're certainly in the path of that storm and should keep an eye on it because you might need to get to a safe place pretty quickly. I'm going to see if I can loop the velocities here just to get an idea how quickly this storm is moving. And you can see as over the last hour, the wind circulation has tightened up a little bit. We're not seeing as broad of an area. We're seeing a more tightening with the stronger winds here, the stronger winds up to the north. It's still a fairly broad circulation, but this storm could produce a tornado at any time. And let's see if we can get an idea at least of the wind velocities in that area, because those bright greens are really starting to show up. And that's the area just southwest of Mount Hope that we really have to watch out for the possibility for, at the very least, some strong straight line winds, but also the potential for a tornado as this, it looks like actually a couple of wind circulations trying to develop. So here we're starting to see the wind velocities, 33 miles per hour. It doesn't look particularly strong, but we're looking at the storm at about maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet above the ground because the radar beam goes straight, the earth curves away underneath it, so you're not looking exactly near the ground. But what we are seeing is actually looks like a couple of circulations. One just to the southwest of Mount Hope. Looks like another one trying to develop here in the area right along just south of the Mississippi River near Highway 60. And I'm going to switch back to the what we call the reflectivity display. This is an area where some very heavy rain has been occurring, probably some hail there. But when you start seeing the rain actually lighten up a little bit, that's because the air is being sucked up into the thunderstorm. You're not getting as much rain near the ground. So the rain flows out and flows to the north of where the possible tornado would be. And then that's kind of the direction that the storm is tracking. So again, we have a tornado warning in effect until 6:30 right now. That is for the northern portion of Grant County, from Bloomington to Mount Hope and up toward the Mississippi River. And then we have a second tornado warning that's still in effect until 6:15. And that is going to be for the far northwestern portion of Crawford County. That warning, again, in effect until 6:15. Just looking at latest information from the National Weather Service, still no surface report of a tornado. They are indicating radar possible tornado near just to the north of Bloomington, and then also another possible tornado near Prairie du Chien. So looks like yep, we actually have now a third tornado warning that is just coming in. So let's widen out the radar view here. Going to be an active evening. I can see that already. We actually have, and that storm is going to be over the western portion of Crawford County. Let's put a warning box here. Okay, so a new tornado warning in effect until 6:15 for the northwestern portion of Crawford County, but it looks like a new warning is coming out for a tornado warning until 6:30 for northwestern Grant County. So let's see if we got that there, or maybe it's the same warning that we have there. We have just two warnings that are currently in effect. I'm going to just put the radar into motion here a little bit so we can get an idea of how these storms are tracking. Again, these storms moving pretty rapidly off toward the northeast at about 45 to almost 50 miles per hour. The one warning is here. That's for the northern portion of Grant County. The other is for northwestern Crawford County, but National Weather Service in their very latest bulletin was saying that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 11 miles southeast of Prairie du Chien, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So again, this area in between here, I would not let down my safeguard, even though you're not officially in the tornado warning. Anywhere, basically the western half of Crawford County, if you're west of Highway 61 into the northern portion of Grant County, and if you're north and west of Lancaster, this area, if you're not in a warning, you're going to be pretty close to some severe weather that's tracking in. And you can see farther to the south and west, and we'll just we'll widen out the radar view a little bit more here. You're actually seeing that there's quite a bit of strong thunderstorm activity that's been developing over parts of eastern Iowa. So here are the two tornado warnings. There's a severe thunderstorm warning, as I've been mentioning, just to the south and west of Prairie du Chien. But all of this activity is tracking off toward the north and east. So Grant and Crawford counties, especially the western portion of those counties, that's the area that's under the gun from a possible tornado. If we look at the wind velocities here again, we're going to go back to that. And we're going to take a look here. I'm going to zoom in on those areas just to see where the most intense wind circulations are. Looks like the one around Mount Hope appears to be weakening a little bit. So that was the circulation that crossed over Highway 18. It's now northwest of Mount Hope and just west of Highway 133. So the northern portion of that tornado warning area. So eventually it'll be getting close to the Mississippi River and eventually perhaps heading up toward the Wazeeka area. Farther out to the west, we've been seeing a couple of areas of wind circulation. That area is more, I'm not seeing as much in the way of wind circulation as opposed to strong straight line winds. We've got some strong winds and maybe a wind circulation around Lansing. Most of the tornado warning area here that covers the northwestern portion of Crawford County, we're seeing now more of a strong straight line wind potential than a tornado potential. But again, this area under a tornado warning until 6:15. The area farther to the south, including for the northern portion of Grant County, that warning is in effect until 6:30. So I'll put the warning boxes on here again, and you can see that's northwestern Crawford County, and then that's the northern portion of Grant County. Again, tornado warnings in effect for those areas until 6:15 for Crawford County, until 6:30 for Grant County. So this is an area that we're continuing to watch. Again, we've not had any tornado reports, at least directly into the National Weather Service. Just seeing the wind circulation indications of a possible tornado. Latest from the Crawford County storm, looks like they're showing another wind circulation 7 miles north of Prairie du Chien. That would be this area right here. And it's not a particularly strong wind circulation, but that's why they're keeping the tornado warning basically right along the Mississippi River and in the northwestern portion of Crawford County until 6:15. Now for the southern storm, they're seeing wind circulation possibly being able to produce a tornado around Bloomington. That storm heading off toward the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. And I'm just going to move the map down there so we can see a little bit here. But you can see that, let's see, right about here. So here's Mount Hope. There's Highway 18. We've been watching this wind circulation, kind of a broad circulation. But again, if there's a tornado, looks like the greatest threat area will be north of Highway 18 and south of the Wisconsin River as the storm tracks off toward the north and east. Dana, are you trying to get a hold of me?
Yes. So right now, of course, this is a very strong line of showers and thunderstorms that are sliding in across the western edge of the state. That tornado warning, 2 tornado warnings in effect right now. The northwestern corner of Crawford County until 6:15. And we're also keeping an eye, of course, on that tornado warning that is in effect in Grant County right now. Behind that, of course, severe thunderstorm warnings have been triggered all afternoon and evening. So we're keeping a very close eye on areas just east of these watches and warnings, because as this line does slide east, there's the potential not just for this isolated tornado threat to continue, but for very heavy rainfall, very strong wind gusts, and isolated hail concerns as well. So 2 tornado warnings that we're keeping an eye on right now. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect off to the west. The tornado warning in the northwestern corner of Grant County goes until 6:15. So about another 10 minutes. We'll continue to keep a close eye on that cell. The tornado warning in Grant County, though, until 6:30 this evening. Areas just off to the east, though, looking to the eastern edge of Grant County, folks, in Richland, Iowa, and Sauk counties. Over the next 45 to 50 minutes, this line of storms is going to continue to travel fast. In fact, as I put this loop in the last 30 minutes, you can see how quickly these storms entered, how quickly that heavy rainfall entered, and how quickly the wind gusts move into the area as well. So anyone right now inside those tornado warnings, I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can take a closer look at parts of northwestern Grant or northwestern Crawford and parts of Grant County where those tornado warnings are at currently. You need to get inside to the most inner room in your building, no windows. The safest spot you can, inside or in the basement, of course, staying as far away from windows, the most secure spot in your home at this time, certainly staying away from anything outdoors or those outdoor walls as well. Because we do have strong wind gusts around that area currently. So this is where we're keeping a close eye on this tornado warning in the northwest corner of Grant County and the tornado warning, or the northwest corner of Crawford County, excuse me, and the tornado warning in the northwest corner of Grant County. I do want to take a little closer look, though, at those towns impacted inside the Grant County. A tornado warning for us just near Mount Hope along 133 and 18 outside of Patch Grove. Mount Hops, excuse me, in Millville right now. Seeing very heavy rain. We've had a lot of lightning along this storm too. The storm is going to continue to travel east. So areas off to the east, of course, need to keep that in mind over the next several hours for us. Right now, we actually have Dave Caulfield. He's in Lancaster currently. Dave Caulfield actually a boots on the ground report for us right now.
Well, Dana, right now I'm in Lancaster, so just to the south of those tornado warnings in Grant and Crawford County. You can see behind me, we're looking to the north and west. The sky is significantly darker, and really we've had a abundance of sunshine this afternoon, helping to destabilize the atmosphere, and the skies really did turn pretty dark quickly over the last couple of hours. The wind has picked up. You may be able to hear that in my microphone and just see it all around. We're right outside of the Grant County Courthouse here in Lancaster, and we've seen the rain pick up just a little bit and also that wind pick up. Also, we're seeing some cloud-to-cloud lightning in the sky above me, but behind the camera, what you can't see right now is there's still sunshine out there. So there's still a lot of unstable air to the south. So I'm looking south. The camera is looking north behind me. So that indicates to me and to our weather team that as storms continue to develop south of spots like Lancaster and in portions of southern Grant County, moving into spots like Crawford County, there's the potential for more strong storms to form over the next hour or so. So we're watching that very closely, but we'll send it back to you with updates on those tornado warnings across Grant and Crawford counties.
Okay, some good news. It looks like the tornado warning has just disappeared for the northwestern portion of Crawford County.
Yes.
That looks like the National Weather Service has allowed that, or actually that was the, the northern portion of Grant County. They've actually canceled that warning. We still have the tornado warning in effect for the northwestern portion of Crawford County, getting a little bit of wind circulation still around Harper's Ferry. That will be heading off toward the north and east, so that storm will be heading up toward Highway 35, Highway 171. Right now, tornado warning in effect for that area until 6:15, but the wind circulation that we've seen here probably has started to die down a little bit. So we may be able to at least break out of continuous coverage over the next couple of minutes. So maybe if we want to get our news team together, because I know we have our 6 o'clock newscast that's ready to go on. But at this point, I think over the next couple of minutes, unless we see this wind circulation start to pick up again, I think the severe weather threat is lessening a little bit over northwestern Grant County. So now if we can show a wider radar perspective on the reflectivity here, just to show where these storms are, especially in relation to Madison. Let's put this on the level 3 with the lightning. There we are. This will be fine here. So here are the strongest storms right now. We have a tornado warning in effect for the northwestern portion of Crawford County. The warning for northern Grant County looks like it's been canceled early. Let's put the radar into motion so that we can see the track of these storms. Generally, this individual thunderstorm cells are toward the northeast, but we're also seeing that the whole area is starting to shift off toward the east a little bit. And in fact, Dana, if you can find the 3-hour future radar, which will be farther down there, you'll be able to see, we'll take a look and see where these storms are expected to track over the next couple of hours as they head toward Madison. Here we go. So you can see these are the cells that are currently right along the Mississippi River. They're expecting to track northward toward the Wisconsin Dells area. But the southern end of this line may continue off toward the east. You can see here on radar that brings us up to just before 9 o'clock. So here in the Madison area, probably looking at these storms sometime around 9 o'clock or so if they continue to hold their present movement. But these storms, you can also see these areas of purple that show up in here. That's an indication that we're at least seeing some hail in the strongest storms. And because it's not a solid line, these individual thunderstorm cells, these what we call supercell thunderstorms, would bring a little higher chance of a tornado. So that's why this area, at least from Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells, west of there, under a tornado watch right now until 10 p.m. So again, this is an area that we're going to watch very carefully. Looks like the tornado warning getting ready. It's just about 6:15. The tornado warning here into the far northwestern portion of Crawford County looks even like it's been scaled back by the National Weather Service. So
they are going to allow that to expire.
And they are going to allow that to expire, according to Dana. So that's good news there. But again, the severe weather threat looks to be pretty high in Crawford and Grant counties. We'll continue to watch for more thunderstorm development. But at this point, can we throw it back to Eric and start the newscast? Yes? Okay. Want me to keep going here for a little bit? Just so, again, a tornado warning in effect until 6:15 for another minute or two for the northwestern portion of Crawford County. Severe thunderstorms in the eastern portion of Iowa, the severe thunderstorm warning here for Clayton County. That storm will be moving to around Prairie du Chien, an area southward into the northwestern portion of Grant County. There was a tornado warning earlier for north central Grant County. That warning has been canceled early as the storm has weakened. The wind circulation definitely is weakened there, even though it was a little bit stronger than the one that we saw back toward the Crawford County area. Madison right now, pretty quiet, but these storms are going to be heading in our direction. And again, this is future radar showing over the next 3 hours where the storms are expected to track. So that brings them through Lone Rock, Wisconsin Dells, and eventually just west of Madison by about 9 p.m. Farther to the west, the storms eventually be winding down. Hopefully most of the severe thunderstorm activity will be over with by the time we get a little past midnight, and things should be winding down. Now let's go over to Eric and we'll start the newscast.
All right, Gary, thank you. We'll continue to monitor the severe weather in southern Wisconsin, and damage from last night's rain has the city of Beloit trying to prepare itself for the possibility of more tonight after a portion of shore was washed away from the Rock River. That's where we find Rock County reporter Adam Duxter with how that city is trying to keep that erosion from getting any worse. Adam?
Well, Eric, crews from Beloit's Department of Public Works have been working here on Bluff Street all day long. And with more rain in the forecast, it's been a race against the clock.
All Candy Young can do is watch as crews try to make repairs near her Beloit home.
When we would get up and left, we noticed that there was something going on because it was barricade. They had barricades up.
While it might not be easy to see from street level, across the Rock River, the impacts of last night's storms apparent, leaving something you just can't prepare for.
When we looked down, we noticed there was a big hole.
That big hole caused by the water moving vertically and horizontally. And tonight's chance for more storms, putting city crews on the clock.
We are backfilling to stabilize the riverbank and working as quickly as we can to make repairs.
Candy and other neighbors left to stand and watch as crews try and fill the big hole before it has the chance to get any bigger.
We're sort of scared we are because we don't know what's going to happen next, but we just have to see what happens through the night.
Crews have been also working to reroute natural gas around this area, and Beloit City Manager Lori Curtis Luther says that, well, you are not advised to travel through the area. Everyone living here is not in danger, but they're looking forward to good weather to finish this project up.
Adam Duxer live in Rock County. Adam, thank you. We are now expecting to hear closing arguments and a verdict tomorrow in the trial of retired priest William Nolan. Nolan accused of sexually abusing an altar boy more than 100 times over 4 years, starting in 2006 when Nolan was a priest at St. Joseph's Church in Fort Atkinson. He testified in his own defense today, saying that he was, quote, dumbfounded to hear the allegations for the first time. The accuser has said he did not remember Nolan having any birthmarks, but told in court Nolan showed the jury multiple surgical scars on his body. Nolan denying the allegations against him.
Many accusations that he had sexual contact with you whilst in that office on the upper left-hand corner of exhibit number 9, right?
Yes.
You heard him say that?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Mad, angry,
Why?
because it didn't happen.
The prosecution questioned Nolan about a statement he gave police last year. Nolan was asked whether he ever kissed the accuser and said he did not recall. He testified that kissing a child would not be memorable because on occasion he said he would kiss children at the church on the forehead. As of today, the Madison School District says the former Madison School and Community Recreation Executive Director charged with 12 counts of child pornography is no longer employed by the district. 44-year-old Jacob Tissue of McFarland had been on administrative leave following the charges. Back from a court appearance today, Madeline O'Neill tells us how Tissue got on authorities' radar in the first place. Maddie?
Eric, Tissue is out on signature bond today and ordered to have no unsupervised contact with any juveniles except for his children. New court documents are shedding light on why he's accused of these crimes in the first place.
Jacob Tissue appears in person with attorney Stephen Eisenberg.
Before possession of child pornography charges were filed against Jacob Tissue, came an in-depth investigation.
I do find probable cause for the charges in the complaint.
Court documents show McFarland police searched hundreds of what they determined to be Tissue's emails, finding 48 child erotica images and 12 distinct images meeting the Wisconsin law's definition of child pornography, depicting girls believed to be 13 years old or younger with adult men. According to the criminal complaint, when asked to explain the images, Tissue apologized, telling detectives it started with looking up photos of young women in bikinis and escalated from there, starting about 2 years ago. Detectives also found a photo showing a young girl out at a McFarland restaurant, but Tissue told them he may have been taking a photo of something else.
And there's a child there, or a minor.
Getting Tissue in court started with a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, originally submitted from an internet service provider, of child porn files connected to a McFarland address.
And it gives me a really great starting point.
Detective Mike Clements can't comment on Tissue's case in particular, but says McFarland receives a handful of such cyber tips a year.
There's many instances that would probably not come to the attention of law enforcement were it not for NCMEC and their cyber tips.
That's just the beginning.
We can't charge you simply based on what's in a cyber tip. So we have to get that information independently in order to confirm what was in there. And then in many cases, we're getting additional email accounts or additional pieces of information that help with an arrest and a prosecution later on down the line, too. So
if Tissue is convicted, he faces at least 3 years in prison.
Thank you.
Tissue's hired attorney Mark Eisenberg wasn't available for an on-camera interview today and couldn't comment on the specific case at this time, but tells us he believes the 3-year minimum sentence for those found guilty of possession of child pornography is unhelpful and says a therapeutic approach would be more beneficial than prison time. Now, Tissue is due back in court at the end of the month.
All right, Maddie, thank you very much. We'll be back with more news and weather updates in just a moment.
Well, we continue to watch severe weather, tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. for the western portions of our viewing area. An alert day in the forecast for tonight for strong to severe thunderstorms, high winds, hail, and heavy rainfall. Certainly a possibility. There's that tornado watch area again. We also have a flash flood watch in effect for all of southern Wisconsin till 1 a.m. for our western viewers and until 7 a.m. across the rest of the Madison area. Thunderstorms have been developing very rapidly over eastern Iowa. Temperatures are near 80 there, while they're still in the 70s in Madison and the 60s to the north and west. Those dew point temperatures in the mid-70s just fueling the air, and everything is kind of converging right into those thunderstorms over eastern Iowa. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the area around Prairie du Chien. That warning for Crawford County in effect until 7 p.m. Severe thunderstorms farther to the south may affect southern portions of Grant County. Strongest storms right now around Bloomington and also just to the north of Prairie du Chien and over toward Eastman. You can see on Doppler track those storms heading off toward the east while the individual thunderstorm cells are racing toward the north and east. The other problem is these storms are moving into an area that has already seen 2 to 4 inches of rain over western portions of Crawford County or Grant County. Now we have a flash flood warning in effect until 10:45 for Crawford and the far southern portion of Crawford and much of the northern portion of Grant County. Rainfall estimates from the computer models indicating somewhere between about a half inch and an inch of rain generally. Some areas may pick up perhaps as much as 2 or more inches of rain from those heavier thunderstorms. So again, a tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. There's a flash flood watch in effect until 1 a.m. for areas west of Lone Rock. East of there, including Madison, that watch in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. For tonight, showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could have high winds, hail, and heavy rainfall. They'll come to an end late tonight with a low of 62. Tomorrow should turn partly sunny. It'll be breezy and less humid with a high of 72. On future track, these storms will race through during the evening and early overnight hours. By morning, they should be gone with low temperatures in the lower 60s. Highs tomorrow in the lower 70s. Tomorrow night will clear out with lows in the 50s. And then high temperatures should be back into the mid to upper 70s for Saturday with sunny skies. Rainfall amounts, again, around an inch in most areas. Some areas more than that. As we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, some thunderstorm chances Saturday night into Sunday morning will lead to warm and humid air for much of next week. We'll see cooler weather toward the end of the week.
Brewers General Manager David Stearns confirmed what was reported last night. Christian Yelich won't need surgery on his broken right kneecap. The good news is that'll shorten his recovery time, but Stearns says it still wouldn't be quick enough for Yelich to play this year, even if the Brewers would somehow make it to the World Series. Brewers look for a sweep in Miami this afternoon. Ryan Braun can't play every day because of a bad back, but he played today. He hit the big 2-run homer to break a 1-1 tie, give the Brewers a 3-1 lead. And a combination of good Brewers pitching and not so good Marlins hitting made it stand up. Here's the final out. Josh Hader with the strikeout. Can you believe it? The Brewers have won 7 in a row. They are not going anywhere anytime soon. Final score, Brewers 3, Marlins 2. Brewers at St. Louis tomorrow, starting tomorrow night. Cubs keep pace with the Brewers, winning in San Diego this afternoon. Yu Darvish has been great lately. He does it again today. 6 innings, 14 strikeouts. Final score, Cubs 4, Padres 1. Cubs and Brewers now tied for the second NL wildcard spot. The Cardinals won at Colorado this afternoon, 10-3. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that one is interesting, to say the least. One you're keeping an eye on, along with all this weather. This should be an issue well into the evening hours.
Yeah, for the next few hours, certainly. We have severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect for the far eastern or western portion of Crawford County around Prairie du Chien. Those storms are moving toward the east-northeast and will be tracking through much of Crawford County and the northern portions of Grant County. You can see the winds right now, generally out of the east here, but those winds shift to the south where temperatures are in the 80s down by Dubuque, while we're still in the 50s or 60s north of Madison, and those dew point temperatures in the mid-70s are just fueling those thunderstorms. So a tornado watch in effect for areas west of Platteville and Lone Rock until 10 p.m. Tomorrow should be a much calmer day. Some thunderstorm chances Saturday night into Sunday morning, and warm and humid for the early part of next week.
All right, of course, we will break in as needed. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6. We'll see you back here at 10.